Let's get up and exercise. It'll take your mind off things. Keep busy. Don't stop or the feelings will overwhelm you. Keep moving, never slow down. There is no time to eat, we must hurry. I'm right by your side, always. I'll be your friend. Trust in me. You have to keep fit. This will make you healthy. I can help you change your body. You'll never be hurt again.
I hate myself. I can never do anything right. An hour's not much exercise. You have to do more. You have to keep on exercising and don't stop. No one likes you. No one will like you if you put on more weight. You're nothing but a piece of shit. Friends, you can't trust in them. You're useless and pathetic. No one likes you. You're so fat and ugly. You can't eat that. It has too many calories in it to anything in life.
If you wait around forever, you will surely drown. I see what's going down. I see the way you go insane. You're right to come, say you're right to come. In my affection, do you feel like a man when you push her around? Do you feel better now?
Eating disorders and their effects. There's certainly plenty of eating disorders out there. Anorexia, bulimia, overeating, binge eating, eating disorders not otherwise specified, and probably lots more that I haven't mentioned. But no matter what eating disorder that you're suffering from, it has implications and effects within your life, and those can range from the personal effects, the effects that it has within the family, and the effects that it has on a much broader scale in terms of society. What I wanted to talk about in this video was the effects of the internal struggle and the addiction and the obsession. And for me, my eating disorder has been anorexia, but no matter what eating disorder that you go through, those three things I believe definitely come into it. For me, and my own personal journey with my eating disorder anorexia, the internal struggle has been one of the most hardest things to overcome, and the physical complications and physical effects that I've had as a result of my eating disorder, I believe have come from those internal struggles and the voices that I hear in my head. And I remember being in my counselling session once and just saying that, am I schizophrenic, because I had so many voices going on at once and they seemed to be overlapping, and there was, my voice and then there was anorexia's voice, and then there was this angry voice, and then there was this little voice, and all of those were kind of just going around in my head like a whirlwind and started to overlap. And for me, I just tried to capture what that was like, because that's what I sit in quite often in my internal battle, is just sitting there quite expressionless on the outside, but on the inside there's, sometimes 5, 6, 7 different messages and thoughts and voices going on in my head that are overlapping, and it sounds really, really loud. For me, the voices when I'm really struggling, I used to explain it that there was my voice, and my voice would be the voice of reason and the voice of logic, and that part within me that wants to be healthy and wants life, that would sometimes just be well, I'd explain it as that was 10% of who I was, and then 90% of the time was anorexia's voice, which was just always just overpowering this little 10% part and squashing it basically into non-existence. And I think that for quite some time I became slave to that voice, and I would do everything that it said, and no matter how much pain my body was in or how much pain I was in emotionally, that I became slave to it. And for me, my struggle has been trying to overcome that, trying to make this 10% voice that's down here much bigger than this 90% voice, and shift that focus and shift that dimension. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the addiction, which for me I was and still can be, if I'm honest, really addicted to the scales and weighing myself, and on a good day that might be once a day, and on a bad day it might be something like 4 or 5 times a day. And also other addictive things like counting calories and weighing portion sizes, and exercising, over-exercising for me when I was really in the depth of my anorexia became things that I was addicted to. And then I think it shifts, well it did for me, into an obsession, and some people have asked me the difference between the addiction and the obsession, and I think I became obsessed with the addiction and keeping that routine and keeping it going, keeping it at the same time. Along with that addiction, the obsession for me was also just being obsessed about constantly thinking about it, being obsessed with it always being on my mind, even to the point of being awake at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because I wouldn't allow myself to go to sleep. And I, to this day, don't really know what that's about, but I know it's common with people with eating disorders that you just stay awake and you don't allow yourself to go to sleep. And I'd be obsessed with like looking online and I guess finding things that supported the anorexia, which is really unhealthy. And Gills and myself will be keeping a topic going for 2 weeks, and that just will allow us to go further into depth with what we're discussing. But also we want the second week to be open to answering any questions that you might have. So if you want to ask us any questions about what we're talking about, or if you have any questions yourself relating to your own recovery or experience with an eating disorder, or any other question that you might have, then please by all means send us a message, and all of us will answer those questions in our second week of the videos. But for this week, for myself, I just wanted to explore a little bit around my feelings and my experience and my story around these 3 things, the internal struggle, the obsession, the addiction, and then next week share with you some of the tools and some of the things that I've done to be able to overcome these 3 things within my life, because I think for any eating disorder there are really strong influencing factors. So I look forward to sharing that with you next week in the hopes that it might help you in your recovery and your journey. And in the meantime, I wish you all well. I hope that you join the other girls this week for their topics, and I'll look forward to catching up with you next week.